Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts, Klaus Nightbringer, Ser Timono, Seyo Mayo, and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Pokemon Go Radio. Phoenix Down Radio. I am your host, Klaus Nightbringer. With me, as always, is Luna Vox. Luna, say hey.
Finally, my dreams are coming true. A Pokemon-based podcast. Yes.
We've got Ser. What's up?
So are you like a grass type, fire type? Like, I really got to fill out my team here, Klaus.
I really
Let's figure out what
dragon
you are.
type. Can I be dragon type?
Ooh.
We've got Seyo.
Hi.
Wow, that was a wonderful intro, Seyo. And
Well,
Just say
Leo's a
Pokemon a
drowsy-
lot and you're fine.
he's a drowsy
Yeah.
type.
totally.
And
Whoa, drowsy type. Can
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
not
we call him out on this, please?
Shush.
Get on our level.
Joining us this week, we've got a special guest. Returning for some reason, we've got Escalia Riamasa from Limit Break Radio. Thanks for coming back, Escalia. I
Talia?
think you're there.
We lied. We don't have him. Wow.
So, what would the show be without an issue?
Oh no, looks like he disconnected accidentally.
Accidentally. He just couldn't get on our Pokemon level.
You keep saying this word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Sorry
It
about
probably
that, guys.
doesn't.
Well, see, that's called the Phoenix Down Radio curse, where there's always audio issues right at the beginning of the show.
Oh, I didn't have any audio issues. There was just an execute outside. I had to go get it.
Seems legit.
Yeah, you did mention it, so we just didn't think you were gonna do it.
But
We
dude,
were in
don't leave that.
suspense. That's what we do here on Pokemon Radio.
That's true, I
Priority.
guess. Anyway, thanks for stopping by again. We appreciate you coming on.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so this week, this past week, I was actually asked to join Chili and Paul on Move Go Around Radio. So if you haven't checked them out lately, you should go give them a listen. You can go out to our website, phoenixdownradio.com, and you can check out the Move Go Around episodes and follow them, like them, and we're trying to build them up as well. So they put on a pretty good show.
Apparently, they were talking about food the whole entire time, and then they started going on Twitter about it. I don't know about anyone else, but I am fucking hungry as hell, even like 3 days later.
Yeah, that was kind of a
It's all
thing.
your fault.
We did learn that Chili has never had macaroni and cheese.
What?
What?
I know,
What?
right?
What?
Never.
There's like a restaurant near me that just does macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, he's
Listen,
never had it in any form.
America.
Listen, I know that you guys started your Patreon and you're super happy because Chili's a supporter on there, but I'm just saying, like, some people you just got to turn away.
Yeah, we may have to tell him, hey, Chili, you need to save some of that money so you can go buy some mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
a whole $1 to buy.
I mean, like, or if you want to be fancy about it, you just make a bechamel, you add cheese to it, you work in some pasta, you're good. You don't have to make it complicated.
But
You can run it under the broiler.
in Chili's defense, Kraft macaroni and cheese is considered an import over in the UK. So,
Is
Yeah,
it really?
but they
In
do,
Chili's not defense, it's macaroni and cheese. Why are you defending this shit?
Okay.
We got standards.
You say it's like what? I'm brain farting. Like hard to get over there. Okay, how hard is it to get macaroni noodles and then like meltable cheese?
no, it's not usually, but I was just saying that the box stuff that we normally consider mac and cheese. But no, they
Or if you're
either
in
make it by scratch or they have it in a can otherwise.
If you're in Canada, it's KD.
Kraft dinner, yes.
Yep.
So yeah,
He's a Canadian about this today.
Maybe we're just looking at this the wrong way. Like, maybe we're the bad people because we don't eat bangers and mash. Like, how many of us have had that?
I've had bangers and mash. I like to go to Dickens Fair.
You don't
with
count.
I don't
bangers
even know what
and
bangers and mash is.
I'm guessing potatoes of some sort. What's a banger?
Oh, I would have guessed the mash was the potatoes. I love mashed potatoes.
Yeah, the mash is the potatoes.
Oh, nailed it.
What's a banger?
There's
well,
a
that's me.
hilarious Arrested
It's,
Development.
Oh, so it's just okay. So it's just Callie covered in mashed potatoes. I can get down with this. Yeah,
It's sausage.
bangers and mash.
Oh, see, there we
Perfect.
go. It is
Oh,
sausage.
perfect. See, it is Callie.
So there you
Oh.
go.
House.
So now the food is spilled over into Phoenix Down Radio.
I'm so hungry, right now, guys. I don't have water.
Well, Luna, don't worry. Tomorrow I am bringing you some homemade mochi. So
Yay! Speaking of tomorrow,
yes, tomorrow Luna and I are going to be doing the Tropicolor Color Run. They're going to be having it at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. So we're going to be running through that. They're going to throw color powder at us. We're going to try and be happy about this, and it's going to be a
we're
thing.
gonna get powdered, and we're gonna choke on it and die, and then I'm gonna catch all the Pokemon there,
And she's
and
not
then
even
see
sorry.
everyone else catching Pokemon there, and then we're gonna eat sushi, and then we're gonna die again.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
It's like
Minus
quite
the
a
death.
day.
Minus the death, hopefully, but
but dying builds character.
That seems legit.
Hey, this isn't Dark Souls.
Don't even talk to me about Dark Souls. Let me tell you something about Dark Souls. That game is mean. It's evil and it's bad. I don't like it.
I
That's
played an
definitely
hour of that,
major,
and then I'm like, nope, I am a rageful person. This does not work.
and yet Ascalia keeps playing it.
I know. I can't stop. I can't let it beat me. I'm a better gamer than this. I can do this.
You have a problem, Callie.
That's how it gets you.
I know I have a problem, and it's called Dark Souls.
The problem is you're not good enough at it yet. Keep practicing.
No, the problem is that now I'm playing the game in between when I'm streaming the game, just so I can get stuff that's boring on stream done. So now I'm playing it even when I'm not streaming, so I'm just pissed off when I start streaming. It's a mess. It's a
All
huge
of this
mess.
seems reasonable.
So when do you fit in Pokemon Go?
Well, that's why I haven't been on stream in like 4 days or done anything.
Because Pokemon Go steals your life?
Come on, Go steals my everything.
Oh boy.
But we're gonna get so
Pokemon
fit
Go
doing
is
it.
your everything.
Seriously, I went for 3 walks yesterday. This is not acceptable.
Heaven forbid you actually go out and get exercise. Oh my
How
god.
much?
I
how
know,
much are we gonna
right?
hear about this tomorrow, Callie?
Oh.
Oh god, I have no doubt we will talk about Pokemon Go. Like,
Give it 6 months, and we're gonna see one of those BuzzFeed posts saying, "I lost 150 pounds thanks to Pokemon Go."
You're probably not wrong, but
No, I'm probably not.
I don't know. Like Pokemon Go is all of us just kind of got to eat our shit and say like, look, we were like at Final Encounter Cast, we were wrong. Most of us. Callow was pretty supportive of it all the way through, but the most of us were like, and now we're all playing it. Every one of us, no exceptions.
Even a Nero?
Even a Nero.
Oh my
who caught
God.
a Vulpix in his bedroom.
Oh.
Yeah,
Gotta
he
piggy
woke
off
up to
my
a
kid,
Vulpix in his
so.
room. Bullshit.
am I like the only holdout from in this game?
Yeah, you are, Klaus. What the hell?
Yeah,
I
you're the
haven't
only bad
actually
person
started.
here.
I'm a bad and I should feel bad apparently.
Should
Yep.
feel bad. You should join the game and join Team Blue.
Right? High five, Callie. High
Hell
five.
yeah. Team Mystic, go.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing on, kind of related to what we were talking about before, and I was telling Luna she's going to get some homemade mochi. The reason I made homemade mochi was because Nikki from Aors and Eats blog decided to release a new recipe based off of the cat's foot chews from the Vanu quests. She turned it basically into like an herbal infused mochi. So I don't know if you've checked it out. We'll link it in the show page. She used a powdered mugwort called yomogi over in Japan. So she used that in her mochi. I couldn't find that around here, so I ended up just using matcha powder. Basically green tea. And Luna wanted some of that, so I made some.
Man, just hearing the word mugwort brings back FF11 memories, and I'm not happy about it.
Fucking hell, do not remind me of that goddamn. My
Going to
cooking is
Gideus and
110.
harvesting mugwort.
My
how I
cooking
made
is
money.
110, and I cried tears of blood to get it there.
I used to make all my money off of harvesting in Gideus, just hours on end, harvesting and killing Humaju the Torrent every time he popped.
Oh,
Oh
freaking
god,
Humachu.
that guy.
Yeah, gotta get that monster signal, man.
Right? Yeah, I never got
That never
it.
drops.
I never got it.
I got it once, I believe. Maybe. Man, that game was awful and great. I love it.
Sorry
Yeah.
to change the subject, but back to the mochi deal
Oh, yeah.
before you guys cut out your eyeballs. I asked for red bean. Klaus told me, no, red bean isn't a flavor. Go screw yourself, Luna.
Did he say it just like that?
Yep, exactly like that.
Not just like that. I just said
Nope,
red bean's not a
exactly like
flavor.
that.
He's like, red bean's not a flavor. Go screw yourself. And also, Pokemon Go's dumb.
And then Klaus was
Exactly
never
those
seen
words,
again.
Exactly.
Yeah, then Klaus was probably kidnapped by the internet and beaten to death.
Well, why should this week be any different?
He knows what he did.
And then we made Myrtle get timed out for saying red bean is my favorite. Sorry.
Did you know, on a food-related question, did you know that there are different flavor marshmallows in other countries?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did not.
I was playing FF14 the other night, and I happened to mention that I was eating marshmallows, and they said, "What flavor?" To which I
What?
said, "Marshmallow flavored."
What is this madness?
Yeah, there's other flavor marshmallows.
Well, I've
And then,
seen like strawberry flavored ones and chocolate flavored ones and
Yeah.
mint flavored
Mhm.
ones.
I've never seen another flavor like except for like Peeps.
Which
And
that's
anyway-
just sugar.
So anyway, this person was just was saying like I'm stupid because my country apparently doesn't make alternate flavor marshmallows. I'm like, we have things that are flavored like marshmallows here.
They taste like freedom.
I have a little stuffed bunny plushie that smells like marshmallows.
Delightful.
It is delightful. Except I wake up hungry every morning.
Oh.
And erect, but that's not the point.
Well, that's healthy.
I mean,
But
that was
anyways,
That's good for you. Yeah.
All right. Well, I just don't like red bean. I don't like it.
I like red bean. You asked me my opinion, and then you tell me my opinion's wrong.
But hey, that matcha, that's not cheap stuff. So
Well, thank you.
I hope you enjoy it. So you'll get that tomorrow. Other kind of game community related news. Patch 3.35 drops on the 19th, guys. What do you guys-
Woo! 10 days.
Boo.
I've got the day off, so you know what I'm gonna be doing all day.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go. God damn it!
You can title the episode right now, Klaus.
Pokemon Go away. It's done.
Pokemon Go screw yourself.
Yes.
5 points.
Put that Pokemon Go in the tags. I'm sure we'll get a lot of listens.
Yeah, probably.
It's true.
All saying we're wrong and we're bad and we can go die in a fire.
All those people are going to tune in next episode and be like, wait, why are they talking about FF14?
I thought this was a Pokemon episode. What? So you guys all gonna be?
Radio.
You guys all excited to do a deep dungeon?
Oh my god, yes. Please hurry up, come out. I want now.
I mean,
Yes, but I wish it were a week earlier because now I lost.
Yeah. Well, it's not like we bet anything major. Just your eternal soul.
It's like nothing major.
Nothing major.
Nothing
It'll be
major.
okay.
Exactly. You don't need it anyway.
No.
But no, I'm excited to see what comes of that. It looks like a lot of fun.
So, like we've been talking about it for weeks now on LBR. It's just like it is an event that really the dynamic element to it is very, very promising and something that we have not seen very much of in 14. Only recently have they begun to explore any dynamic themes in their dungeons, like Ozma randomly shifting forms, things of that nature. It is so nice to see an event that is almost purely dynamic. It's just randomized. It's random layouts, random objectives. It's great. It makes me think of Nizul Isle, and I'm super happy about it.
I know a lot of us were hoping for something similar with the Diadem when that was released, and that kind of came out pretty flat. I mean, people were doing it, quite a bit at the beginning, but then it really died off fast once people figured out, the best way to do it, and then they nerfed it, and goodbye Diadem.
Guys, I just got a Goldeen. Again.
Are we allowed to play on the show? I'm not even allowed to have my phone out on the other show.
Dude, I'm record keeping right now.
Me?
As long as you guys keep on topic, I guess I don't care. Don't make me send EMPs through the computers to your phones.
I feel like that would just hurt you worse.
Yeah, right?
I'd be highly impressed. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, how are you going to send the MPs through the interwebs?
Just from a technical perspective, that would be impressive.
It's my secret.
But
Jim
yeah,
has
I'm
a
super
lap.
happy about Deep Dungeon coming, and it does feel like we're seeing more events inspired, at least somewhat, by FF11 events showing up in the game. Like chat pointed out, the Sky and Dynamis were kind of the themes behind Diadem, even though it wasn't executed very well. You've got Aquapolis, which has like a bunch of different themes that we're seeing in 11 with the void worms who could send you to different areas to do a fight. And then like it's kind of there's the Moblin Maze Mongers comparison and a lot of different things there. And now we got Deep Dungeon coming, which very much Nizul Isle, Salvage, a lot of the TOAU events are showing up in this one. And if like these are all events that they're planning on expanding on, like if we're going through the 4.0 patch cycle, and now we're doing like, all right, 4.1, we're getting 2 dungeons again, but we're getting a Diadem and an Aquapolis update. Great. That's outstanding.
Exactly.
I mean, as long as they don't make it 3.5 hours like the original Dynamis, I'm so there.
I would love for some longer events to show up in 14, but
oh god, like having to stay focused and completely on top of things for 3 hours. Like those polls that got messed up were always at the end because everyone was tired and just wanted to be done.
sure, but like no, go ahead.
When are we supposed to get that Yokai Watch crossover?
Oh right. That's
I would
the thing.
assume
Isn't that
it's
supposed to happen?
right?
They haven't announced the date yet.
I thought they
I
said
know.
something about the summer.
Well,
It's
summer goes
summer.
till
Where
September,
is it?
so
That's silly. You're silly.
I am silly, but
Oh, Sarah.
Hey, whenever they want to release that, it's fine by me. I love when Square Enix writes our show outlines for us.
seriously.
yeah, that was a whole thing, wasn't it?
Yep.
Everyone's gonna want
Giant flying sperm.
exactly.
Oh God!
Hey,
Like,
it was a great title.
I want my FF15 crossover event so I can get my car mount.
Your flying car mount,
Yeah,
Vroom,
that'd be
vroom.
sweet.
You're
Oh god, are they gonna
Audi
make that thing fly too?
probably. It
Yeah,
flies
like a
in
rocket
15.
car.
Like, this is true.
So
I don't know why, but
we
it
can
annoys me that.
Guys, we can recreate the end scene of Grease. Let's do it.
Oh,
I'd rather recreate the end scene of Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, let's do that too.
It's gonna be
But-
awesome.
then we want it to not be a flying mount.
Just gotta fly it down.
Oh,
No, you
that
just
works.
gotta take it to like court. Maybe you'll get Safat even.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you just gotta try and sponsor Safat.
And then
right?
Thelma and Louise pops Safat and got a whole bunch of Allied seals.
Lisat wants the DeLorean, and I agree with that. I want the DeLorean so that we can go back in time and do Wings of the Goddess. It's gonna be sweet.
But first, we gotta generate 1.21 gigawatts of power.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how we're gonna do that or get up to 88 miles per hour in this world, but
I'm pretty sure the Sky Steel manufactory can handle that bit.
Guys,
Can it?
can we get the DeLorean to go back and stop Verminion from ever happening?
But then it's gonna somehow create an even worse future.
yeah,
I
like
don't know.
well,
could
'cause
be like
that's how Back to the Future works. The first thing you change ruins the movie.
Yeah, because
Like,
the gold sauce is gonna be taken over by Telegia Legi.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Well, no, because
All
if
the
you go back
games
and
will be
stop
up-
Dominion, that's after Teleji dies, so then it'll be fine.
It's
No.
it's gonna be fine. They're gonna take Verminia out of the game, and because of that, everyone's gonna spend all their time in the gold saucer because it doesn't suck balls anymore. And now there's never gonna be any more story expansions because none of our characters actually go to Ishgard.
4.0.
Alcoholic
Add another
gambling addicts.
layer to the gold saucer.
So then they're gonna add boob and butt jobs to the game.
Wait,
Well, they don't
what?
need boob jobs, but we do need butt slider. I'm never giving up on this. I'm my damn butt slider.
I'm sorry. When I hear
Vox wants
sliders,
that
I
ass.
think like those little mini hamburger things. So butt sliders means something very different to me.
I
Well, if
deserve
you-
to have a luscious ass. Thank you.
If you eat enough of those sliders, then you will get a huge butt.
See?
Oh, well, there we go then.
Butt slider.
So going from patch 3.35.
Oh, Klaus thinks he can keep us on topic.
Man, I couldn't believe I got invited back. I was like, damn, I thought I did a good enough job pissing them off the first time. Right?
No.
Well, you notice the outline is comparably shorter this time.
Quite a bit shorter than last time. We did learn something, but like I said, there was some news that we got to talk about, so we figured we get that out of the way right away, then we can talk about all the other stuff. So, this one's kind of a nice one. I don't know if you guys check out the official forums if you're still not banned from it or not.
Oh, I'm sure I am.
But Lux Ferris posted a response to somebody asking about when they place an item in the house and when they try and bring it back, it gets destroyed. She goes, "We're planning to make some alterations in the future so that rare furnishings, which are difficult to obtain, such as those with materials from trials and raids, are no longer lost upon removal. We're aiming to implement this a little bit after patch 3.35 and are currently reviewing which furnishings we can do this for." So, that's actually going to be pretty nice. So I don't know if they're talking about things like the overhead lights or what. So
Probably talking about that big throne thing that you can get from doing like Crystal Tower, the big throne, Zonde's.
the crystal throne.
The gem throne.
Yeah.
I would definitely like to not lose my Shiva chandelier every time I
Yeah.
trash my house.
Yeah, because chandeliers,
Plus,
they get lost.
Your ancient Allegan TV and shower.
Honestly, why didn't they do that just from the start?
I don't know.
I think there was
Why,
some concern
honestly?
about. I think there was some concern about using it as a way to effectively buy and sell these things that were supposed to be like personal to one person, or
I mean-
something like that.
Couldn't you just make them not tradable?
Well, I mean, like I know with airship parts, you can actually trade them between a free company by like having someone, and pretty much by having people jump between free companies. It's like someone takes the airship part, then they move to a free company, and then they put it on the airship there, and you can effectively trade them that way.
Oh, so I guess you'd be talking about not things that are in your personal room so much as things that are in the actual FC house.
Right. I mean, like when it started out, it was just free company housing, remember? So I think there was a concern about using it as a way where like free companies could be buying and trading it that way, where they want it to be sort of a, hey, here's a proof of conquest.
Interesting.
Or so maybe you can't scavenge a free company house and put something into your personal house.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Like, I think there was some concern about how people might use that and what incentives that might create.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I can see that when those fights were new, but I think we're at the point now where it like no one's looking like, oh man, these guys beat Ifrit X swag.
Yeah. Which is probably why they're reconsidering it at this point. Because it's like not as much of a big deal anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Have any of the new primals even given any furniture items like Sephiroth, Thornton?
Sephiroth's got the tree.
Yeah, Sephiroth has. Trying to think.
I feel like there was something for Thornton, but I can't remember what.
Doesn't Bismarck have a fountain?
Bismarck
Yeah.
has a fountain, Ravon has a fan.
On is a fan.
And after that, I didn't know.
Does Nidhogg drop anything for?
I haven't even done Nidhogg yet because I'm still scrubbing that up.
Yeah,
I haven't even
I
done
don't think
Frontier on
Nidhogg
it.
drops anything for housing. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either.
I do not know off the top of my head. Nidhogg furnishing. Google.
Moogle Quest saying there's a statue from Nidhogg.
Yep.
Mm,
So
Cool.
that's a thing.
your mom's a thing. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
No, if you're gonna make the insult, run with it. You gotta stick with it.
Much like I stuck with your mom.
Yeah, there you go. Dedication. That's what I appreciate.
Woo!
My mom's dead, you jerk.
We'll give you an E for effort,
Oh God.
but an F for execution. Somebody execute him.
Oh.
So is the Nidhogg statue an outdoor, indoor thing? I want to look it up.
You looked that up. The lore.
Probably an outdoor thing.
Yeah,
It's like any of the other statues.
Anyway, Koji was talking a little bit more about the lore book. He's been kind of quiet the last couple of months on this, but he says he's still working hard on it, and he's hoping to have it ready for FanFest, so we can all spend all of our money on that, have him sign it, and yeah.
Yeah, he probably has writer's block or something. I get writer's block when I'm trying to write my lore segments.
Well, no, he's actually been pushing through a lot of pages. He said there's still a lot to translate yet, but he's working really hard, and he need to make sure that it gets approved. And then they're hoping to have the PDF finalized and sent off to the printers by August, is what he's hoping.
I'm totally gonna get one of those and give it to Ethis Asher as a proposal. Like, marry me, Ethis.
That's adorable.
Oh, okay. Figured it out. Tabletop.
Tabletop.
That's a tabletop one?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I wanted a huge Nidhogg statue in my front yard.
To put next to your T-Rex?
How come there's no... Why are there no pictures of this?
Probably because not very many people have it yet.
Yeah.
Damn.
I typed in Nidhogg statue and it started showing me FF11 stuff. Damn it.
Well, that one's been out a lot longer, so...
Oh, now I'm actually getting Old Norse stuff. Damn.
Speaking
How
of
about
mobile games...
FFXID Nidhogg statue.
But yeah, maybe need to refine your search parameters. Anyways,
All right. FF14 Nidhogg statue, because Klaus is a jerk.
Make sure to include that in quotes.
Because Klaus is a jerk.
There we go.
all right, speaking...
Hey, it gave me an ad from My Doll. Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well,
All
at least
right,
I'm not a
back to the
pain
show.
in the ass, so it could have given you an ad for Preparation H.
Oh, God.
That's what I get when I search for Sayre.
What is in the immortal words of Jan Valentine? Here's what you do: go down to the local pharmacy, ask for something called Viagra, and it'll help you go fuck yourself.
Also, I've got a picture. I'm throwing it in the show channel for you. There you go.
Oh, God.
Hey, this is what I do for my job. I am good at my job.
Oh, shit. That's actually...
Okay, that's actually kind of badass, and I want it.
Yeah.
We'll
right?
link that in the show notes after when we get this posted out on the website, so you guys can check it out there as well.
So, what's the number one thing everyone's looking forward to doing at FanFest? Like, what's your number one thing you want to do?
Play Pokemon Go.
Dude, I heard they're gonna have a Zapdos at FanFest. It's gonna be great.
Was that supposed to be like a Luna impression, Klaus? Really?
No, not necessarily, but
That's just you, like, suddenly becoming prepubescent again, or?
I don't hear a denial coming.
I'm too
He's
busy thinking of
unleashing
how
the
I'm
inner
going to
child
poison
in
your
himself.
Cheerios.
What are you gonna do to my Cheerios?
He was gonna piss in your Cheerios. That's
Ow! In the heart.
Actually, I said poison, but anyway.
I know what you said. It's called lying.
But no, I'm, well, checking in and taking a nap, I think, to be honest with you. After driving...
That's your big thing you're looking forward to at FanFest?
Driving 24 hours, I'm going to be freaking tired.
Okay.
Dude, I'm gonna go
So-
meet people.
Last year, they had like the whole spa, jacuzzi, all that kind of thing, and I was like, I am gonna relax and pamper myself for a bit. And they closed those at 6 p.m. I was doing volunteer stuff. I finally got offered that. Go to get dinner. It's like, oh, sorry, the spas are closed today. Fuck you. Midnight hot tubbing.
It should be a
Hopefully this
thing.
hotel is
It's
better about it.
Vegas.
Yeah, it's Vegas. Everything should be open 24/7. If you can't get the stuff for that, then you shouldn't be a fucking 5-star hotel.
I can't even remember where the hell it is we stayed, but like where they were having it, the convention, the fan fest, but they
that was in the
closed
Rio.
spas early.
It's dumb and bad.
Yeah, hopefully the Paris isn't going to be quite that bad.
They need to have the hot tubs open at midnight so I can feel decadent and have bubbly water tickle my backside.
Okay, that was really specific.
That's kind of how
Have
he
you
is.
not
He likes
been
what
in
he
a
likes.
hot tub? There are bubbles. They are glorious.
He likes it when they tickle
the
his
water
backside.
jet goes up your butt. It's the best, right?
There's
Honestly-
there
Well,
I think
Wendy's
that too,
there.
right?
There's
Okay,
there
so the
Wendy's.
first thing I'm gonna do one fest, take a damn shower, and then go around. Klaus can take his nap.
No, actually, I by the time we get there, I'll be so pumped up. I'm going to be looking forward to meeting everybody there. I'm
Right.
assuming that Thursday night, I want to actually work with some of the other podcasters and content creators and get some sort of meet and greet going for Thursday night.
That'd be really
You
cool.
have been warned.
Yeah, if you want to avoid that, then just go somewhere else. But no, we're going to party it up on Thursday night, so we all feel like shit on Friday morning. So we feel like a Scalia today.
Oh God. Yeah. All right. So yeah,
Ascalia, how's that working out for you?
pulling back the curtain a little bit, Scalia is very hungover today because today happens to be 2 years ago. Today is the day I came out. So
Yay!
yeah, so
Yay.
today is kind of my unofficial second birthday, and me and my friends went out and partied for that and another reason that isn't related to me, so it's not important. We partied last night for that. And the end result of that was me throwing up for most of the day today. I don't throw up when I get drunk. I throw up when I'm hungover. And I don't know why, and I don't like it. That
Weird.
said, yeah, the even thought of alcohol is utterly repulsive at the moment, which is going to make for an interesting fan fest. Hopefully by then I'll be willing to drink again.
Oh, you got plenty of time. And also, congratulations.
Thank you. I was...
Congrats.
Yeah, this year I actually went out with friends rather than go drink by myself in a bar. So that was
Is probably
a lot.
slightly healthier.
Well, plus
A little bit, yeah. I would say.
Well,
So.
I mean, considering you were the local hero for the incidents, right?
Oh yeah, no. Straight up, if you want to be popular, go to a bar that also is a Pokestop, buy a lure module, and put it down. Because I did that last night, and immediately someone in the bar stood up and was like, "Who bought the lure module?" And when I said it was me, he bought me a drink. And like, then people just kept coming over and be like, "Oh, thanks for buying the lure module, man. This game will unite humanity." We were sitting out on like the porch area of this bar, and just all day, we probably saw 30 people on their bikes with their phone out, just like riding their bikes around because there's all like the Pokestops and the gyms there.
Oh, I love that game. I love this game. I need to get out more.
It's changing the world.
It is.
So anyway, speaking of other mobile games that are maybe more Final Fantasy related, Brave Exvius was actually released for Android and iOS this past week. So I've actually been playing that quite a bit instead.
Unless you had a Swedish iTunes account, in which case you've been playing it for about a month.
Like Sarah
Don't know what you're talking about.
or Chili in the chat. He's been playing it forever as well.
Yay!
He can't defend himself.
We're cooler than them, Chili.
But no, I mean, that I think that's actually a fun little game.
Mhm.
Have you tried it yet, Escalia?
No, I wasn't even gonna try Pokemon Go. I don't generally do the mobile phone games. Like I did Record Keeper for a little while, and then kind of got out of that. So I wasn't even gonna do Pokemon Go until I realized that literally everyone else on our show was playing it, and if even a Nero could stomach it, I guess I had to try it, and of course it's great. So I
am still surprised. That blows my mind that he is patient enough for that.
I was shocked when I woke up in the morning and I look in the host chat and Nero's talking about all the Pokemon he caught. I'm like, what? Who are you?
What magic is this?
What sorcery has been worked upon us?
Oy vey. I may try
Oy
it maybe
vey.
when they settle things down a little bit, because from what I understand, with Pokemon Go, everybody else is having issues keeping signed in, or
Yeah, it's like any new launch, the servers are a mess.
Yeah. I mean, you can't realistically test the full server load thing until you actually put a full load on the server. Small scale stuff does not scale up properly.
Well, I mean, we see it time and time again, too. Think about what FF14 1.0 was like those first few days. Was anyone else around for the very first few days of 14 1.0?
Yeah.
I took 3 days off work so that I could have a 6-day weekend, and I played maybe a grand total of 4 hours.
Yeah, no, it's like nearly impossible to get in. Like you try and you go through the opening sequence.
Yeah.
We started having hey, I'm going to write down all the parameters of my character so I can just jump through this as fast as I can and maybe get in.
Even when you finally got in, there was no enemies, because the enemies were still on long respawn times.
That sounds more like the alpha. I remember the alpha being like that.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, you just have, you can do alpha and beta testing, but you just don't know until it launches, because even, no matter how much beta testing you do, the vast majority of fans of your game are going to say, I'll just wait for the launch build. They're not going to do beta testing.
Yeah. And I mean, like there's an guy, Nitas is a friend of mine who does some stuff with like computer network management type things, who has actually done large scale release stuff related to this, and he was explaining why. But like you actually cannot meaningfully simulate using a small thing and scaling it up. You cannot meaningfully simulate whether the servers will be able to handle load. The only way to do it is to actually put the full load on it and see if it breaks.
Yeah, like when Diablo 3 first launched, it had problems. Path of Exile had problems. Eve back in the day had problems. When it first, every game goes through this because and you can't meaningfully estimate what your audience is going to be like. I guarantee you, Pokemon Go is way more popular than even Niantic was gathering it would be.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, after you've been through this enough times, you get reasonably chill about it.
Yeah, kind of like I know there will of course be the people who are out there pissed off saying, "Hey, I want free swag because I can't play your free game." But
those people are dumb.
Yeah, those people are dumb. The vast majority of people I feel are just like, "Yep, it's a new launch. Sounds about right."
Basically.
Even 2.0 and Heavensward to an extent had those issues.
Yeah, but when Heavensward came out, like everyone kind of just got it. Like, yeah, there's probably going to be some server issues. It's probably going to have some wait times. Are you on Balmung? Enjoy your 3-day wait. It's going to be great.
And they're like, oh, hey, we're going to split these zones into 3 zones. And I was like, yeah, that seems about right.
That was a good plan. That was nice of like SE to finally, like at first everyone was really concerned about like, wait, is this the way it's going to be from now on? But like, no, that was a really good plan for handling server load, was instancing the zones.
Yeah, no, that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it only made a few issues with some of the new hunts, but they've quickly figured out how to fix a lot of that. So,
well, I think it had always been intended to be a temporary thing too. So,
yeah, it was like they knew it wasn't perfect, but it was far and away the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, and it made the overall launch of Heavensward pretty smooth.
It meant that people got in and got to play.
Yep. There wasn't a lot of downtime when it first launched. I mean, we were able to get in pretty fast, and it was, like I said, for a major expansion, it was pretty freaking smooth.
Huh, so they learned things.
Yes.
Who'da thunk?
So does it mean 4.0 is going to be perfect? Probably not.
No.
Wow, if only I could pat you endearingly on the head right now.
That's what I said, probably not.
Will not be anything close to perfect, but I think it'll be a little better than Heavensward was.
I didn't even think Heavensward was bad. It was just maybe a 2-hour wait before they stabilized the servers.
Yeah, that happens.
So what's everyone looking forward to in 4.0? Like, I think it's like we all know 4.0 is getting announced at FanFest. What announcement would you hear that would get you excited? That would get you just like really thinking like, oh crap, this is great.
You mean besides Red Mage?
Red Mage?
Well, I don't believe we're going to hear Red Mage as an announcement, but yes, besides Red Mage. Would you get super excited if they announced Red Mage? Would that have you be like, oh my god, I have to play the next
And
expansion?
now Klaus is like, what about Vermilion Mage?
If you know Klaus, yeah, he'd go nuts over it.
Klaus is Red Mage for life.
Sure, but would Red Mage being added to the game sell you on 4.0?
Well, I'm already going to buy 4.0, so I mean, I'm actually the bad person to ask that.
Fair
I think
enough.
anybody on the show is kind of bad to ask for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Overall,
here, different question then. If they absolutely confirmed that Red Mage was not going to be a thing, would that make you hesitate?
No, I'd still buy it. I'd be a little sad, but like I said, I still plan on continuing to support 14. It is what it is.
For me, like there are two things I would lose my mind to hear. I would lose my mind if they said honest to God pet job, which is never going to happen. But if they said that was coming, I would lose my mind. And if they said the level cap wasn't going up.
Huh.
If they say the level cap is not going up, that means horizontal content or horizontal progression is coming in 4.0, and I would freak out with excitement.
Well, we're still going to end up having vertical progression though in the eye levels.
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
The only thing that I'm concerned about is, I think that we're probably going to end up getting a level increase. I mean, we've all been 60 for quite a while. My only concern is going to be the ability bloat that may come with it.
Well, I mean, you say 60 for quite a while. We've been 60 for just over a year.
Yeah.
It hasn't been that long.
Game's been out for about 3, I want to say. I was just looking yesterday, like, we never clear out our free company list, and there are some people there who it's like, last signed on 1,040 days ago.
True.
So yeah, about 3 years.
Yeah, I think they could very well do an expansion without increasing the actual level cap, because, like you say, the ability bloat, we have all felt it. It is there, and there's only so much you can do with upping the eye level and upping the level cap with the gear treadmill. Like, there's only so much that you can do before people get burned out on that. I feel like, anyway.
So if you're doing the horizontal progression, does that mean adding those pieces with different abilities, the types of armor that people have been clamoring for?
I feel like if you do go the route of horizontal progression, then what you would see is like, all right, in this expansion, at the end of the expansion, the eye level will go up. At the end of like the 4.0, not into 4.1. At the end of 4.0, your eye level will go up. It'll hit a new set number, and that's where it's going to stay for a while. And your things like your relic weapons, you'll be able to upgrade them to get to that point, and things like that. But I think for the most part, that's where the eye level would have to cease, and you would start seeing changes in your stats be what people clamor for, rather than just upping the eye level as a general, I have to have the highest eye level.
So like new traits and things like that versus new abilities?
I'd like to see new traits, but more than that, I'd just like to see you be able to have different ways of building your character. Like, I would like to see it be possible to do a strength build versus a dex build. I'd like to see like how those might influence your damage in different ways.
Because I mean, right now the whole thing where you add a stat bonus, that is pretty much a relic of 1.0. Like, with the way as it is, there's no real reason why that should even exist, except for, I guess, the whole summoner scholar thing. And even that, they've said they don't really like how that turned out.
No, I mean, that shouldn't exist either. It should just be melded into whatever the correct stat should be for each of those jobs. Really, right?
I would think so. The way that that you currently level up in the game is so rinse and repeat. It's very much like every patch cycle. It's do your lore tomes. If you raid, do the raid content, and then you can fill in the gaps with a couple other things. It would just be nice to see, like, all right, cool. Your best in slot ring comes out of this event. Your best in slot body piece comes out of this event. Your best in slot headgear comes out of this event. And you have to actually do all the different events rather than just like, hey, you can get great end game tier gear just off grinding your lore and doing your 2 dungeons every week or every day.
I mean, it does seem like they've kind of had the philosophy of, hey, we want people to be able to get good stuff no matter which way they want to play. So doing that would kind of require them to go against that with design philosophy they've used for a while. Not saying it's impossible, it'd just be a big shift for them.
Well, at the same time, though, we, like you say, that we've seen all these different events come out with different ways of doing it. That, to me, feels like laying the groundwork for making that kind of switch, because they couldn't just make the switch overnight and then say, okay, now we have to put in a bunch of different events for people to do. We're seeing the events come in first.
Oh, that makes sense. So, like, adding stuff like Palace of the Dead, for instance?
Right. Like, so, yeah, let's say we get into the next expansion, and now Palace of the Dead contains the best in slot for some part of your gear, and then Aquapolis, even if they wanted to use that, could have another part, and then raiding would have obviously probably the weapon or something sweet. Yeah, I feel like if they eventually kind of go that route with it and make all their different content, like, to be the absolute best you could be, you have to do everything. Right now, to be the absolute best you can be, you pretty much just have to do your rating. If you can clear the rating, you have access to the best gear in the game. But you could ignore 90% of the content in the game to do that.
Right.
That's true, since you can buy, it's either you buy your lore gear or you get your raid gear. So yeah, it's not like there's another option.
Or you craft stuff.
And the best has always been and will always be, until they change it, that, you know, it's some sort of mix between the two of those.
Yeah, I think we see it a bit now. We see people who just, you know, they finish up the patch and then they disappear until the next patch comes out. And I feel like that's going to get worse if the gear treadmill just kind of continues the way it is. I mean, eventually you get tired of doing that. You get tired of grinding your lore tomes and then all that being made completely irrelevant in a couple months.
Now, let me say this. When going back to Diadem, when Diadem first
Sure.
came out, that actually, a lot of that gear was potentially best in slot. Because of the way you got, the way the gear was statted, it was all random.
Yes.
You could get
I've
random.
never been a fan of random statting.
No, but hear me out here. So a lot of the gear you could get, you could either have between 2 and 4 different substats and a range of values within those substats. Luna knows this. She and I were in there a lot when that first came out with some good friends that we made through Diadem, and I mean, I geared up most of my stuff with that pink level 210 gear that was quad statted pretty highly. So I mean, I think they were onto something when they first came out with Diadem, being able to get, you know, different statted gear out of there.
Yeah.
I would like them to expand on that, really.
Yeah, I think the event itself just needed to be a bit more compelling.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Sarah.
I feel like, touch on an earlier thing, from an economics perspective, like, there is some value in, like, hey, you got this stuff was the best for a while. Yes, it does become obsolete, but there was a period of time where you did get this, and there is value in having some amount of time where you do have the best stuff, even if it does later become not the best. Like, just from an econ perspective, there is actual value in that. So it's a little hard for me to say, like, oh, because it becomes obsolete, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's called the iPhone cycle, or the Android, or the smartphone cycle in general.
Yeah.
If you want to relate it to real world econ.
And I agree. I think that does work for a period of time, but I feel like you do risk burnout with your fan base eventually. Like, I guess you look at World of Warcraft and they're still going today, but they have cycled through so many players. Like, how many players playing Warcraft now were playing in the olden days?
Yeah, the burnout is actually a really big risk there. You're right.
And in addition to that, a lot of the players that we have in 14 who came from WoW, well, they might be subjected to burnout faster.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
being one of those players that did come from WoW here, I do, but I don't. I do, in fact, because I played WoW for so long and held the grind, that there is a grind. I guess it does burn me out a little bit faster, but this game has so much more going for it than WoW ever has.
Yeah.
That it still keeps me way more.
This game has, I think, such a strong story element to it that keeps it going. But what I've already started to find myself doing is saying, do I need to upgrade my gear to be able to get through this patch of story? No? Cool, then I'm not going to. I'll just do the story with the gear that I have.
That's about what I do as well. It's like, I really love the story, I'm here for the story, but if what I've got will get me through the story, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah, if I don't have to grind my lore tomes every single day, I'm not going to, because it's not that exciting.
No, not so much.
Especially in the day and age where we only get 2 dungeons per patch. Like I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal going from 3 every patch down to 2, but it's noticeable.
Yeah, basically you flip a coin, which one are you getting this time?
Yeah.
And, I mean, that means it's so much easier to run up streaks of doing the same one. You just get a lot less variety in there.
Yeah. Deltrey in the chat is making a really good point. I'm trying to think back to when I played WoW, and I do not remember any of the story. I know the Lich King did a thing that he used to be a guy, and he did a thing that's all I remember.
And then there's someone with an exclamation mark above their head.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't fucking remember anything from WoW lore-wise. But this game, I remember a shit ton of lore-wise. Doesn't help that we have it does help that we have the Loreberry in here. It tells me everything that I want to know in case I don't remember. But the fact that I remember so much more about this game versus WoW.
But yeah, it's fully story driven, and the content is based on story, and it's got such a rich heritage and rich lore behind it. I mean, it's what brings people here.
All the stuff that you're doing ends up being motivated by what's going on with the story of it. So it's like a lot more. It's like, oh, it's not just, oh, hey, there's this random dungeon sitting out here. It's, oh, hey, this really important thing that the Scions need is buried at the bottom. And like all that stuff, like there's all the stuff has some kind of meaning to it, and that makes it easier to put it together in that narrative. It makes it easier to keep it in your head.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of 14 is they've replaced what once was your gear lust. They've replaced that with story lust. Like
I am totally fine with this.
their whole world is intertwined by the story, which is great, except for when you're looking for new content. That's a lot of production effort.
Ooh.
To release on every patch, and you don't like it. You grind through it really quickly. Like with the 3.3 storyline, who spent more than 5 hours, 6 hours on it?
A little longer, but I was going a little slower with it. I was like,
For 3.3, I think. Oh, geez. Wake up, get like 3 cutscenes, get Sorkai done. That's maybe an hour. Get 2 more cutscenes done and get Nidhogg done. That's another hour.
I'm remembering how much people used to rage about Final Fantasy XI and the things where you'd have like a 24-hour wait or all this stuff like that. It's like, wow, that was a really desperate attempt to keep this from happening, wasn't it?
No. Well, I do feel like it was their attempt to kind of move people around. I feel like what they wanted with the 24-hour waits in 11 was, all right, great. We're gonna have a bunch of people who are gonna like grind through the story on launch day. Then they're gonna get to the 24-hour wait. Some people aren't gonna be able to play the next day, so then they'll be stuck on that step until the following day. So that it was kind of just spread out the parties that were attempting to do it. That's what always struck me with 11. But the thing about 11 was, so often the fights were so hard and took so many attempts that it like the waits were almost meaningless, because it was just like, yeah, I just spent 11 hours putting parties together and doing this fight. I'm ready to go to bed anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like some of them were actually trying to be lore related. Like, I know that there was a ranger quest, I think it was, that had you click a question mark on a full moon.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, we're trying to be immersive here, but at what point does immersion come second to gameplay?
So
are you talking about 11 still?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ranger artifact quests, there was like, it had the lunar cycle. I think it was, so it would have been effectively 1 or 2 hours, like 2 or 3 hours out of the day where you would be able to activate that scene.
Right. Well, I mean, the lunar cycle ran on like a full week.
Did it?
Sure did.
Because there was, it moved about 2% per thing. So full cycle 0 to 0. Yeah.
Yeah, 0 to 0. I think was like 3.5 days or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you remember doing the Archangel fight, if you wanted to do Divine Might, you had to go to the fountain in Romave only
at Pentasphere.
Yep, at 95 to 95 was the only time you could do that.
With the correct weather.
Yeah, but that was, it had to be a clear night too. I forgot about that.
They just recently got rid of that.
Yes, they did. But nevertheless, that was such like a cool immersive feature of the game. It was a pain in the ass, but like at the time it was a pain in the ass, but it's something you look back on really fondly. Just like, that was sweet. There was like the zone would actually change under very specific conditions.
Yeah, like the pool would become all reflective. You could see the moon in it. It was sort of like, hey, here's this really gorgeous, beautiful view.
And also the staircase down the center of it became accessible during that time. That was the only time you could actually take the staircase straight down the middle. You didn't have to walk all around.
Yep. And it really did make it have that whole feel of like, here's this thing that is actually tied in with the moon here.
Like, and 11 did a lot of that. Like, 11 was very impressive that way, in that it would do these things on very old architecture. Like, people forget that the game came out in 2002 originally.
Yeah.
So a lot of what it does on very old architecture and old game design philosophy. So I try to look back at 11 through those eyes of like, just like, oh yeah, this is a 2002 game.
Yeah. I mean, it was still annoying as all hell, but
there was a lot of things in that game that was annoying as hell.
It was a product of its time. It's kind of like a set piece of it.
Yep, and I mean, So here we look at 14, and we obviously we get called on it all the time on LBR for comparing it to 11, but it's hard not to. We did LBR for 9 years or 6 years on 11, so it's I don't know. How did we get to 11? Where did that happen?
You spend a lot of time with 11, but that's all right. I think
Yeah.
a lot of us have played 11. I think everybody but Luna played 11 here.
Hey, Luna, you should play 11.
I'm not gonna go back to 11 now
Hey.
that I'm here.
Hey, no, you don't get to tell Klaus to play Pokemon Go, and then you don't play 11.
Okay, you gonna buy it for me and pay for my sub and all that?
It's like what, $5?
I think we missed it on Steam sale. I think it would have been actually accessible at that point, but I think when it's not on sale, it goes up to 40 for the add-on.
Oh my God, they still charge 40 for that game. That's
I thought it was
ridiculous.
20 for the Ultimate Collector's Edition or the Ultimate
that sounds
Seeker's
closer to
Edition.
right.
Yeah, because that includes all the expansion packs.
Mm-hmm. But then you still do have your $12 a month though.
It's funny, like that game is even today. You get mad at that game, but you kind of love it at the same time. Juxta and I were talking on the Green Room video afterwards, and I'm just like, hey, "So how's 11?" And he's like, well, it's frustrating and annoying, and I think I love it still."
Oh, they just added that you can buy a 3rd and 4th retainer. It's a Mog wardrobe, but it's a retainer.
Odin.
No, those are Mog wardrobes are actually inventory space for your gear that you actually wear.
It's a retainer equivalent, though it's a more limited one.
It's more armored chest equivalent, I would say.
Yeah, your Mog wardrobe is straight up just basically another 80 inventory that you can only put armor in.
Yep.
Like you can macro into your wardrobe. It's great. And we're on Odin server, Chili.
So now you can have all that gear in macro from that?
You can macro gear out of both your inventory and your Mog wardrobe. Yep.
Damn.
Like, I've said it before, but I am so glad that 14 doesn't allow you to gear swap in the same way that 11 does, because once that became possible, that became mandatory.
Yeah.
Well, it did become mandatory, but I feel like people look back at gear swapping so negatively, but that is something that kept gear relevant forever. Like, even when a gear was no longer best in slot for when you were weapon or meleeing, it still might have been best for when you're weapon skilling, or it might have been best for jumps or cast times or something like that.
I wanted to get shit out of my inventory from time to time.
You were a black mage, weren't you?
A thief, actually. I just like having things tidy.
Oh, okay. No, I get it. Obviously inventory was a problem, but it kept pieces of gear relevant for such a long time that I thought that was a great thing. Like events like Dynamis. A Dynamis should have died and gone by the wayside by 2008 or 9, but because the pieces that you'd get out there, they were never really worth equipping except for in specific instances, but you could do that because of gear swapping, and it kept Dynamis being done until it's still being done today.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly do it because, hey, I like the cute outfits, and at some point I want to actually finish that goddamn bow.
Well, guess what? You can glamour in 11 now, so.
Yep.
And yeah, I did keep doing Dynamis, and I finally got my Gungnir, so it's glorious.
Yay! Yoichi no Yumi. Anyways.
I kind of have something that I'd like to be incorporated into the game. Granted, it's kind of taking it from WoW, but it still would be kind of cool, I think.
What's that?
Dual job specifications, like how on Priest you could have a Shadow Priest and a Holy Priest. So having
different specs.
Different specs. Have one be DPS, one healer. Just stuff like that. I'd really like to see that somehow get tied into this game.
I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be hard to do in a lot of cases. And I think in 14, it would be pretty much mandatory that you can swap them, before you enter a dungeon. Anytime you're not in a dungeon or a raid, you can swap.
Given that we already have the job swapping.
Right, guys. I feel like you'd be a DPS white mage, and no one would want you.
I mean, I feel like we already do have that, though, in Summoner and Scholar.
Kinda, yeah. But I think it'd be cool if they started applying that to more classes. If they actually separated Dragoon and Dragon Knight out, and one's kind of a tank and one of them's more of a brawler DPS, that'd be cool.
Or if we would bring in Ranger to split off from Archer and Bard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Could be
You
interesting.
could separate astrologian with like chemist or something like that.
Well, Astro already kind of has a little bit of a split with its different sects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they have the different stances, right? A lot of classes have the different stances.
Mhm.
Yeah, stances seem to be a really popular way to get some equivalent of this.
Yeah, that's probably as close as where we're gonna get with something like that. I don't think they're gonna do any type of skill tree type of system.
But you know,
I know, but it'd
if
still
they
be fun.
did something like that, that is one way you could increase the actual level cap and put more abilities in, because then some of the abilities would be used for one job spec and one for the other.
Exactly.
So you could actually cut down on the ability bloat by doing that.
I
mean,
go ahead.
Main problem I have with that, I actually really do like skill trees. I always have fun with them, but it inevitably comes up. Okay, what's the optimal arrangement? Start doing that. Like, I don't know. Can you design it without there ending up with a single optimal one?
No, you're always
very
gonna
hard.
find your best in slot, your most sought after build. You know, people are gonna
Well,
do the maths and they're gonna figure out which
Yeah.
one's best.
And well, what that's going to come down to is that's going to come down to how your fight design works. Because you need, if you're going to have a skill tree, everyone's going to calculate, okay, what is the best, most pure DPS that I can get? Let's just say for Dragoon. What is the most DPS that I can crank out? But if you start putting in enemies that are maybe more weak to damage over time abilities, okay, well, crap. Now I need to rechange my skill tree so that, phlebotomized is buffed in some way.
Mhm.
That's the way that you can make it so that different builds work.
Yeah, or you'd have to build in some sort of vulnerabilities, maybe bring in the elemental resistances, make them have some sort of actual relevance in this game.
Exactly. I mean, why are they here if they're not going to be relevant?
This skill gain.
As a black mage, I'm very scared of that.
Well,
This
yeah, it's
skill
gonna change.
gains power in inverse proportion to the number of players currently on the server who have it set. Great design right there, people.
Oh,
Nothing
God.
can go wrong with this.
Is that for the new hipster class?
Make it happen.
Hipster,
Oh,
play it
that's
before it's cool.
And then if you get X amount of people playing it, they change the name and it becomes a totally different class.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
as soon as 20% of the servers playing it, it just changes name and becomes lame.
Exactly. The one thing that I would actually, kind of getting back to your initial question of what would they could announce that would just make me just totally excited.
Yeah.
Actual end game raids. Not these basically glorified trials that we've got now.
Yeah.
An actual honest to God fucking raid.
So, like
Yeah.
something that's 24-man, but like the Alexander Savage difficulty.
But not even like that. I'm gonna point at WoW for this. I mean, because WoW actually does their raiding pretty well. It's a large dungeon with a lot of mobs you have to take care of, as well as a lot of mechanics and a difficult boss. I mean, it's not just go in, see a round room or a square room, and try and avoid insta-kill mechanics.
Well, I think one thing that kind of bogs down 14's rating is they've kind of designed all their events in the game to be done in a certain time frame. Like, they don't want anything to take longer than an hour, pretty much, it seems like. So
You're not wrong
I feel
there.
like the way they divide up, like if you look at Alexander, floors 1 through 4, they divide it into 4 separate fights, and every single one of them is like enter, wipe some trash, fight a boss. Whereas when I think of a raid, I would think of all those 4 floors being combined into one long event where you feel like you've accomplished something at the end of it.
I mean, one thing they can maybe do is, they can make it to where you could actually, do the entire thing in one shot if you wanted to, or you could put in like waypoints, so to speak. You remember back in Coil, you'd get the shortcut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shortcut parties were a thing with people who wanted to skip the trash on turn 1. So, I mean, you could do something similar to that where you could skip people ahead if you wanted to, or your group would, if you ran out of time, let's say you only got halfway through, you would stop at that point, and then you
Yeah.
can come back and go into that point again
I-
and continue.
I guess you'd want to put some rewards in the earlier parts, or otherwise you end up with a situation where it's like only shortcut parties. Why would anyone willingly join a party that wasn't already having a
Yeah,
shortcut
I mean, it would
kind of
be
thing?
like a regular dungeon. Each of the sub bosses has treasure that you get from it.
Mhm.
So I mean, you could get, something from each of those as well. But if you were to skip ahead, they wouldn't be available. So it would actually make it so you. But if you got something from there or past that point, you could not roll on it again for another group.
Right. Well, I did not care for WoW a whole lot, but I did love their raids. Their raids felt like epic events. Like
Mhm.
whenever, like I remember this one. It was in Wrath of the Lich King, where like the end of this raid, you went and mounted on Dragonback and went up in the air and fought some dude on Dragonback.
I remember that one. Yep.
It felt epic.
That sounds pretty cool.
Like, yeah, there's a guy. The first boss in that zone was straight up just like he was your DPS check. That's all he was. He was the Faust of that zone. But it didn't feel like that. It like even though he's like, yeah, he's a tank and spank enemy that if we can deep him down in time, we're good. We have enough to progress through the raid. But it didn't feel that way. It felt like an event, and that is what WoW captured very, very well. And something that 14 just sorely lacks on almost all the time on their raids.
I think
Even with the way that Warlords of Draenor is going right now, and people saying how bad it is, people like I still hear about people complimenting their raids. It's like, oh, Warlords is horrible, but the raids were great.
Yeah. I appreciate the whole, hey, this stuff can be done in a relatively short time, just in terms of trying to fit it into a schedule. I think like that's a thing, especially for a lot of the players who are starting to get older and have more adult responsibilities. But yeah, there hasn't been as much of the like, hey, I am going to set aside my day and do this thing.
Well, look at A7. Yeah, look at A7, which is objectively a great fight. That at least I'm pretty sure it's A7. The
you're
one
talking
with
about the cat and
the ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is such a great fight.
That is objectively just a great fight. That is a marvel of modern gaming. Like that fight is. It is so much fun. There's so many mechanics. There's so much going on. It's in this beautiful large area.
Plus, you can yell Catherine quotes.
Well, and you can just say, "Get your balls away from my pussy." So that's wonderful.
Love is over.
But
anyways,
at the end of the day, when you beat it, you're booted back out into Idleshire, and you're just like, wow, I don't feel like I did anything. Like Alexander remains unchanged. Nothing is different when you're done. You just feel like, great. I don't like that you can queue into these things from Idleshire. I want you to have to actually go there. I want it to feel like an event that you're entering into Alexander.
yeah,
I don't want it to feel like you're just like they disconnect you from what you're doing when you just have like the insta queue while you're in the middle. Like, oh, let me finish my craft so I can accept this queue.
I understand that they want to make it easier to do this stuff without having to interrupt everything, but you're right. You are missing that kind of sense of momentousness from it.
Yeah, and they took that away when they brought in the raid finder. Like I said, I understand why they did that, but I really think that they should make people go to the location to open up the raid finder interface.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool if, like, once you finished a raid, like once I've beaten Alexander, like if you could go into the area and explore it.
Oh god, I would love that so much.
Like, how much more would that add to it if you could just look around just walk around inside of Alexander?
You mean aside from the 5 minutes you get before you get insta-booted?
Yeah, exactly.
These guys will tell you. I took them on some dungeon runs just to be like, okay, take a look at this bit, take a look at this bit. Hey, what do you guys think of this? Like, we would actually do dungeon runs just to look at the landscape and talk about the lore of it. Like, being able to explore it freely. Oh my god, I would love that so much.
Yeah, we did that for the Airy, remember?
Going back to Coil, do we all remember that the regeneration chamber that you got to after you beat 5-9 and
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That added so much to Coil too. Like, just
you
being
can't
in
go
that
back
zone.
there. I'm so sad that you can't go back
you don't ever get to go back, and like that added so much to Coil. Like, oh, cool, I beat this. Now I get access to this exclusive zone, even if only for a moment, to look around and see like what is in this grand place. Like something. It felt like something changed because you beat A5, or because you beat Coil 5.
Even with Coil and Alexander to begin with, between raids, you would have that little zone.
Yeah,
Like that
remember
one
that?
holding all the hexagons.
Exactly. And in Alex, it's a little room with squares and platforms.
I've never gotten to go to that room. I'm sad about that.
I think I like what Niknar points out in the chat. Points out Crystal Tower and Void Arc are more like a raid than Alexander is, and they're 24-man dungeons, and that's so sadly accurate.
It is. And like I said, I was actually going to make the comment, I would love to see something along the difficulty of Weeping City as an 8-man.
Well, they were asking for 24-man Savage Weeping City at the not the live letter. What was it?
E3.
At E3, they asked for a Savage mode of Weeping City because, like, the cool thing about our community is also the most frustrating thing about our community is, like, they will take the path of least resistance.
Of course
but when you challenge them, they step up almost every time. Like, and that's what we saw in Weeping City. They decided they wanted Weeping City to be harder than Void Arc and harder than any of the Crystal Tower line, and they made it harder. And when people complain, like the first reaction was like, "Whoa, this is out of line with the difficulty of all the prior raid dungeons or all the prior 24
And then we gritted our
raids."
teeth and did it.
Yeah, exactly. But they're like, "Whoa, this is out of line with the difficulty. Are you sure you guys didn't mean to make this easier?" And Yoshi said, "No, this is what we had in mind." And we said, "Okay." So we got better and we did it. And now now that is a universally loved dungeon. Everyone, like, no one complains about Weeping City.
Well, I don't think it was even hard to begin with. I think it's just people decided that they have to actually play the game now. It's the same thing with like, I don't even do that eye level reduction glitch, as it were, to Q into Trial Roulette anymore, because Nidhogg is no longer a pain in the ass because people actually decide they need to play the game.
Yeah. That moment where it's like, oh, it's like, what? We wiped? We wiped again?
Yeah.
God, I have to actually try now, don't I? Okay,
exactly.
Let's do this. And they do it.
You can't go through the Weeping City brain dead. Like Void Arc, you could play Pokemon Go the entire dungeon and be just fine. It
Don't give Luna
I may or may not have
ideas.
record kept through a couple runs where I was tanking.
But when you get into Weeping City, yeah, that second boss, you got to pay attention or you're going to get wiped. When you get to Ozma, you better as hell pay attention. And by the way, why wouldn't you? Like, the other thing that was good about Weeping City was it's so visually appealing. You don't mind looking at it.
Sarah, how many times did you get lost?
Yeah, during the Ozma black hole sequence, I just can't look away.
Oh, you can't, because it's beautiful. It's so well designed.
Fucking haunting.
If they came out at FanFest and said, yeah, Weeping City is our new standard for like our lowest level of difficulty that we're gonna have, I would lose my mind. I'd be so happy.
Shit, yeah.
Like, that'd be great.
Here's my wallet. Take what you need. Just try to return it in one piece.
Like even the players who will sit there and take a look at Weeping City and say, you know what, it looks nice, but it's hard. It is like, I'm just, I'm not on board with it. Maybe I can't, for whatever reason, I can't grasp this mechanic. Even those players, like, they'll just say, that's cool. I'll wait until I've gained 20 eye levels and then I'll go do it. And that's fine too. Like, however you want to handle
levels
it.
are not going to help you though when you have two meteors in Ozma just sitting on top of each other.
They give you some amount of leeway.
It'll give you a little leeway because you'll be able to DPS things down faster.
Yeah, you're going to be able to skip a few phases. However, you still can't eye level your way through mechanics.
It's not going to be a complete panacea, but like if there's just a couple things that you're having trouble with, maybe that gives you the edge you need to get through it.
Yeah, I feel like Weeping City is a really good place. It requires you to pay attention, it requires you to learn the mechanics, and it requires you to put some effort into the fight, which is so refreshing to see because, like, you look at things like Alexander Normal, and it's so easy.
Yeah, Gordius Normal and Midas Normal were extremely easy dungeons. Midas was fun, mind you, but it was easy. I mean, people beat it
twice on A7, and those were my only wipes.
Yeah.
Like that was it. It was like, and like mind you, I like you say it was fun. I enjoyed A7, but I feel like the difficulty like is really pushed down.
I mean, they're going to tell you that that's by design because they want it as a story mode, so people can push through the and
And I
get
mean,
the story
that's
behind
fine.
Alexander.
And that's fine and all, but there is something that's missing for the, hey, we want this really momentous feeling, as we were saying earlier. Is momentous the word I want? I think it is.
Or
Now, here's a
monumental.
question for you guys.
Yeah?
Do you think that there's any possibility that that the team would actually look at what we got for normal modes for the raids and maybe say, hey, this didn't work out like we had hoped it would, and discontinue the normal modes altogether and just have the one raid tier? Like,
I don't think they're
well-
going to do that.
No,
I
I don't
think
think they would ever do
We're
that.
always going to see 2 tiers now because there are people who they're not raiders, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, like, I couldn't get through Binding Coil for the longest time, and this actually upset me. I didn't want to watch videos. I wanted to see the story myself, and the fact that I couldn't get through it was really deeply frustrating to me.
Mhm.
It's like something that I was actively bitter at people for a while about.
I still haven't done coil. I still haven't experienced it.
You've
No, it's
done
great. You should
you've
go
done
do it.
some, but yeah, you
Some of it, but no, I haven't gotten
Yeah.
to the end of it.
But like
I-
having the opportunity to do it is something that I think people value enough that taking that away is not going to go over well.
I think there will always be the 2 tiers the way we have now, but I think the normal mode in the next run will be harder.
I'm
I
hoping.
think-
I
I
hope
think the
so.
normal mode in 4.0 will be harder than it was in 3.0.
Do you think it'll be hard enough to have a lockout? Like an actual lockout?
I think they're going to try and split the difference between Alexander Midas normal and Binding Coil. I think they're going to look for somewhere in between. And then you'll have the Savage mode of it, which will be balls hard.
I'm just hoping they don't have the same token system that they have with the current Alexander setup. 'Cause
Can I ask you though, what's wrong with it?
it's a clusterfuck, honestly. I don't like having random tokens dropping and you need, a shit ton of them to get any type of gear. And you're locked out, you get 1 per week.
Would you rather have none like coil?
I'd rather have the gear drop.
I'm with you, Klaus. I think it's a better system when gear randomly drops. Like, and I know people hate hearing random gear drops, but like,
How do you feel about a hybrid system where you have random gear drops but also tokens? Because
Well,
I do
that's how it is
appreciate.
now.
So then what's wrong with that?
Well, it's not actually that way now because the gear is not dropping from Alexander Normal. It's only tokens. I guess my biggest problem with that is that there's a token
I'm
for
sorry.
every single type of gear. You've got a foot token, you've got a hand token, you got a belt token, you got an accessory token. That's just
have a friend
too
who
much.
I have a friend who refers to all of these types of tokens collectively as lol gills.
And it takes up way too much space in my inventory. I've got so many
Yeah.
tokens from so many different fights, and it's just taking up all the space.
I
I'd
just
like
want
to
to know
toss some.
I just want to know what's wrong with finishing the fight and 2 pieces of gear drop at random.
Or hell, make it
You're
4
done.
pieces of gear for story mode, so more people can
Sure.
get gear.
Yeah, sure.
Like-
4 pieces of gear drop, and that's it. Like, what's wrong with that?
And
I mean, like having gear drop is fine. I guess it's more the like if you have the hey, you've done run after run after run, and it says it's showing up. Like having some kind of token thing lets you have the pity. Okay, you have clearly put the time into this. Even if the random number generator is not on your side this time, we're going to have a little bit of pity on you.
or hey, even this,
I thought we
make
were
it.
talking about, I thought we were talking about Savage.
No,
so
we're-
my whole point just goes out the window.
No, we're talking normal here. You were gonna say, Luna?
Honestly, I'm thinking about it as not from a player perspective, but we got to think about it as SC is a business. They want us to play their game. They want us to keep playing their game for as long as we possibly can. So they're probably thinking more along the lines if we give them one little piece of one little token and we make it so they can only get 1 per week, we're going to get more money from them.
Well, yeah, they don't want people to be
That's
220 by the end of the first week.
Exactly.
They could be 220 if they just crafted everything up and then Pentum all day, which would make it better than normal mode gear anyway.
True.
That's the argument. Like, why gear
you
lock it?
could still
when,
restrict it to getting one piece of gear per week. You just wouldn't use tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean the counter argument against that is like, given the amount of that it requires, possibly someone cleans out the market. So it's just like there's not enough material on the server to do this for everyone. I mean, yeah, the market responds to that, and you get more material being produced over time. But that short-term fluctuation, like someone could, especially for some of the like higher grade ones, someone can easily empty the entire server.
Yep, and a lot of people are freaking impatient. I mean, I know a few people that once 3.3 came out, I need to get the best gear right here, right now. I'm going to go out, get all the Ironworks gear. I'm going to buy it off the market board, pentamelted, blah, 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 blah. And they don't want to wait that week or two before the economy before the market board balances itself out.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so what? Like, that's the price you pay for wanting that, for getting that. Like, if you want to put in the time to get that much gil that you can just crash the market and right at launch, that's your prerogative. That's one way to play it. Like,
But
market speculation is always something.
Crashing the market doesn't just affect you; it affects other players as well.
Sure, but like, that's going to be a problem anytime a patch drops when new items come out. What do minions cost when a patch first drops?
What does some
But,
minions
you
still
know,
cost?
Everyone needs those minions to load out their Lord of Verminion team.
Listen, minions are the true end game, so I understand, but like, I just feel like market speculation's been a thing all the way back to 11. Like, that was a problem then. I bought my first Scorpion harness for 13 million gil. It was a level 56 piece of armor.
I bought my first Scorpion harness for like 50,000, but I always hated the look of it, and I got it randomly like many years after it was obsoleted.
Oh, Christmas
Patience
of
wins out.
2005, when everything was just
Eventually.
inflated.
It's time versus money.
Yep.
Do you want to invest time or do you want to invest money?
And the trade-off is that you get to have that higher level of power for a longer period before other people do.
Exactly.
Like, that is actually the trade-off there.
Well,
I don't know.
How does this sound? You guys remember the antique items that would drop from some of those level 50 dungeons that you could
Yep.
turn
Yep.
in?
Mm-hmm.
What if we implement a system like that in normal mode raid?
So it's like, hey, there's a helmet, but you get to pick which type of helmet it is, so you don't have to do 8 trillion runs for your thing.
Exactly. And two of them, and two of those items will drop. Maybe one head, maybe one hands in there.
Sure, but I mean, I look at something like Void Arc or one of the 24-man dungeons, where it does just drop. Every boss drops a couple pieces of gear, and it is what it is. Like, people don't have a problem with that. Why would people have a problem with just a couple pieces of gear dropping off of a normal raid? Those go by way faster than Void Arc does.
I don't know.
No, the thing with the Void Arc though, and then Weeping City, that is the catch-up patch. Whereas when the raid comes out, that is right when the new eye level increase comes in.
Right.
So that's where the biggest difference is going to come in, because you've already had 3.5 months to get your eye level up to a specific level.
So is it that people don't necessarily care as much because, hey, now it's a catch-up thing, and this is not necessarily the most cutting-edge type thing. It's not as huge a deal to me if I have to do a couple.
Basically,
rounds.
it's either time or money. You invest the time to put in, or you wait and you get your catch-up gear.
But yeah, I mean, it's not even really how people perceive this. It's how the battle team perceives this against what they feel is balance.
Yeah,
really.
and they don't necessarily, like I said, they don't want to have people at I-230 or I-2, too high of an eye level too early in the game. And I think Yoshi's even said that in interviews. So that's part of the reason why there's this gear lockout. But like I said, I think they can do it a little bit better than having to run over and over and over trying to get your shaft or your spring or your pedal.
Well, and I mean, I still feel like you can have a gear lockout without using tokens.
Mhm.
Like, you can still say you can only get one piece of mighting gear per week.
Yep.
Yep. Which, I mean, for Void Arc and Weeping City starts out as the way it goes, and later they relax that, but.
And not necessarily even one per floor or turn, just one per week.
That's what I would say. I would literally say you can get one piece for your left side and one piece for your right side every week. You can get one accessory, one armor piece, and then that means after 6 weeks you'd be done.
Yeah, I
Which
would.
is roughly how much it is now, I think, right?
Exactly, and now you don't have to worry about 1 billion tokens anymore.
I think it's 8 weeks on the system right now, but yeah, you don't have to worry about all the freaking 1.5 million tokens.
Yeah.
And running 1,000 times to get the right piece because you always only get one shaft and somebody always outrolls you.
And then
Yeah,
you
and
get
then
the
3
shaft.
patches later, you wonder why you still held on to it. It's like, why are they holding on
I
to this
still have
gear
some
again?
tarnished Gordian stuff, and I don't know why.
I honestly just get like a day ago got rid of all mine.
I turn them in for desynth.
I should probably do that.
Boy, you guys are chumps. What about when the relic comes out in 4.2 and it uses those?
Oh no.
I think I will benefit more from having had actual free space in my inventory in the interim.
But we're going to have options, don't you know, Escalia?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
Yes. Options for this, but everything else is through the tomes. Speaking of which, what did you guys think of this phase of the relic?
I have not felt like farming tomes.
I'm still on it, so
I got 6 crystal sand because I did a couple leaves and got some vilekin, and I have no umbrite because I have just not felt like farming tomes.
Fair enough.
I've gotten it done. When I got it done, I feel very similar to how Scalia feels right now.
Horny?
I think hangover.
Yeah.
He did get a huge boner from getting it, I guess, but
Well, I haven't brought myself to do Relic in a long time. I have not touched Relic in 3.0.
oh, you haven't.
Well, no, that's not true. Let's see. I did the very first step, the Atma farming 2.0.
Okay.
I did that.
So you got your
Because you
18
wanted to
crystals.
You wanted to shatter one of your Zetas in rage.
No, I got done with that and I was just like, oh my god, am I really about to do another expansion of grinding Relic and then having it become useless? No, I'm not doing that again. I'll just get whatever the lore weapon is.
Though
I will wait and see if one of them looks cool and make that when it becomes easy.
This is something that I will just straight up admit comes from my FF11 mentality. I cannot bring myself to do a ton of work on my relic weapon and then have it become worthless. No. A relic weapon is something that is supposed to take forever and be a shoot the moon goal, and then when you get it, you are forever lauded and people build statues of you.
Yeah, I had issues with that.
I will concede that I was okay with the way that they handled the Zetas. I didn't mind saying, okay, well, you did this, now you get a little bit of a leg up. Because that at least
Shatter it in
invites,
rage.
I mean,
the
you get a little bit of a
continuation of
leg
it.
up, but dude, those 18 Atma, that was not bad at all. I farmed that in 2 days.
I know some people, it took them weeks to get them.
I think some people weren't trying hard enough.
That's possible, but I mean, there are people who are still saying that they're having issues getting them all.
They upped the drop rate, right? I did a batch of fates the other day to try to get my monk leveled, and didn't have a single one show up.
Do you have the quest flagged?
I thought you didn't have, once you've gotten it flagged once, they just drop from then on.
No, it has to be flagged
No.
still.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well.
I reflagged it for my bard, so I can continue to get him if I ever do fates again, which I
That's-
haven't, but
Good to know. I will go feel embarrassed over here now.
I think that's probably an issue that a lot of people are having too.
maybe. Depending, well, some people, they're still on their first one and they're having trouble getting them.
Yeah, I thought it just unlocked the ability for them to drop from then on.
Or maybe RNG just hates them.
Could be.
Maybe, but the drop rate on them was not horrible. Even on the worst luck of RNG, it's been 9 months now. Come on.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Like,
you're
if
not
you're
wrong.
making even a token effort.
You're not
Yes,
wrong.
exactly. Stunt Gaming 101 just said it in chat, because people will go out and do one fate a day and be like, I farmed every day.
You're, like I said, you're not
Farming.
wrong, but yeah.
Or the whole thing, it's You can be on the left side of the probability curve, and that doesn't mean it's broken. It just means that you're a little unlucky this time.
Well, it just means statistically someone has to be there.
Yeah.
That's
Otherwise,
true.
the average wouldn't be where it is.
Like, I mean,
Statistically, some people have to be hated.
Yep.
I guess what I was gonna put in on this is my only major beef with it was the fact that the Umbrite are Esotome only,
So
and you need a minimum of 60 of them at 300 apiece.
Yeah.
18,000.
That's the minimum. Probably closer to 75.
Yeah, but what if you
Yeah.
just go do like a theorochemical research facility 1 billion times?
And,
Hey,
and
Klaus,
lose your
where you
soul.
been living the last
That's
week?
what we
A
did.
theorochemical research facility.
I'm sure Klaus knows that I have my ways of optimizing it.
And that's the other problem with the way that they set it out is people are optimizing it. You know, people optimize the unidentified stage by running Alex normal 1.5 billion times.
That's what people do. They optimize shit.
Yeah, I mean,
That's like asking them not to breathe oxygen.
I like that they they made a lot of the things where you could do it multiple different ways. But the other step that you need in order to make use of those pieces is one way only. That's my only concern.
Yeah, you really can't say that you have multiple ways of doing things when you have one way of.
When you have to have esoteric tomes. Well, they could technically say, well, you can run dungeons or you could do hunts, but you still have to farm the goddamn tomes.
What would make it better though for like what would you like next expansion? How would you like them to handle Relic?
Give me a relic, a firm handshake, and $75. Okay, maybe.
I'm not saying that it should be easy. Maybe
But what should it be then?
we got spoiled by the whole aether oil step, going from 210 or from what was it 210 to 230 with just 5 oils.
Oh, that was nice.
It was too
I-
easy, personally.
I don't know about you, but I still farmed Essos like a mad woman when that came out, and now I'm just burnt out on farming Essos.
Yeah,
I want
I
Essos to
was
go
just-
die in a fire.
I was just patient. It's like I did Crystal Tower 3 weeks. I incidentally earned enough Essos during that to get the other 2. And it's like, this is nice.
Yeah, see,
I'm
I mean,
okay with it.
that wasn't terrible, but I think they should have probably doubled it. Which, I mean, still, you're only looking at about 5 to 6 weeks at a casual pace. Versus you got people who are still working on the unidentified stage because, you know, of the amount of tomes that they need for that, and just the sheer number of tokens for that. 96 items total.
Honestly, okay, with this whole entire relic, like the 3.0 relic, it's all like, oh, you want relic? Okay, go farm Essos. Oh, you're on the next step? Go get more Essos.
You're
Oh,
not wrong.
wait, you did that? Guess what? More Essos. Fuck off.
Okay, I've got a solution. We have this special little instance where you have Rowena strapped to a target dummy.
I like where you're going with this.
Call it dynamis.
Every time you hit her, Esotomes just spill out of her.
Make this into a game in the gold saucer.
So, this is like the Final Fantasy 14 version of Custer's Revenge.
Oh God, never mention that game again. You are a terrible person.
Hey,
Man,
you
wasn't
brought it
that
up.
on the Atari?
Yes.
Yeah.
I am a terrible person for knowing about this game.
I know what that game is. But I'm a terrible person anyway, so that works out.
Yes.
I
There's-
just like if I'm gonna go to all the effort of doing the relic, like I feel like it needs to be the shoot the moon goal. It needs to be the like I am like, okay, this expansion's out. I'm going for it. I'm going ham this expansion. We are gonna get this relic weapon and it's gonna be great. But I would like to see them incorporate more elements into it than, like you say, just like farming ESOs every patch. That's
Mhm.
boring.
Mhm.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants to do that. Why not, like, oh my god, just off the top of my head. Okay, if you want to get through this relic step, you're gonna have to get to the 7th floor of the Aquapolis.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get to floor 50 of Deep Dungeon, and you have to win 50 feast matches.
Plus, you have to
Also
win
20.
10 Verminion matches.
Beat
Oh
me
my
to it.
god. Right? You have to do 10 Verminion matches and send a Nero a tell and tell them all about it. Give them the recap. It'd be great.
No, you have to win
Ask
10
him to
matches
critique
against
your
a Nero.
performance.
Oh, no one's gonna get that relic weapon.
But
Like,
no,
he'll pop
I mean-
someday, right?
I'm not asking for, Final Fantasy 11 difficulty for a relic. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong. That's not where I'm
Speaking
going
as some-
here.
Why not?
Speaking as someone who was one of the have-nots in FF11,
So was I.
but I like that, hey, this is something I actually have a hope at. Like, this was one of the things that happened with Level. Like, it was that shoot the moon goal, but it meant that you had entire link shells determining who was worthy for it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you look at someone with a relic in this game, it doesn't mean anything. Like, you're just like, oh, cool, they got the relic. Like, if you met someone in 11, like if you saw someone in 11 who had a Gungnir or heaven forbid an Apocalypse, oh my god, that was your brain melted out your ears, and you're like, come party with me, oh god of Dark Knights.
And then it turned out that some of them were kind of genuinely awful people. So
Sure.
there was part of me that's kind of okay with that not being as much of a thing.
But I mean, you're always going to have genuinely awful people. It's an MMO.
Yeah.
You've got to have both sides of the scale.
Like people who bragged about bending an entire link shell and like how they were using them. And like those were the people. At least those are the ones that I seem to see who got a lot of them. There were good people in there too, but there was a lot of really psychopathic behavior.
I agree with you in the stance that I don't want it to be something where you require a whole free company to do. But if it's something you're going to be able to solo, I want the restriction. I want it to be, maddening.
No,
what you have to do.
Like I've heard what you and Aniro are talking about on Limit Break Radio, and how you think that the full relic should be available from when the expansion drops. I like that idea. I think it's a really good idea, and that to get it to start with, it's going to take a hell of a lot of work. And
you are going to be poop socking for months.
Yeah, exactly. If you want it by 4.1, yeah, you're gonna have to be calling for bucket replacement all the time.
That's correct.
But
can we not
But guys,
or
that's gonna ruin some
you
storyline.
don't want to encourage people to poop sock.
how about this? Kind of a mixture of both of those. The entire quest chain for the relic is available from 4.0, but you can upgrade it in phases. But you're not limited to, once you finish this phase, you're done. You have to wait till the next one gets released. It's already there, so you can continue on and use it.
Well, and that's pretty much what we're talking about. We're talking about like you do work it through its phases, but all the phases are there at launch.
Okay, so
and as you
someone's
go,
gonna
those
die of
phases are
starvation.
just made easier. The requirements would be made easier. But if you wanted to go through every phase at 4.0's launch, oh my god, you would be just like shackled to your computer.
Someone's
Okay.
gonna die of starvation.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Sure.
Okay, Lucifer, go ahead.
Let me get the voice right. But guys, I'm a fussy casual. I won't be able to do that.
Yeah, but then you'll be able to get it at the end of the expansion too, when all the restrictions are relieved.
But I don't play that much. How are you going to cater to what I want to need?
Then you don't get a relic weapon. Go do your lore gear. Have fun.
right.
But it's not handed to me.
So I want in my game. I pay my $15 a month.
This isn't how you actually play devil's advocate, you fucktard.
This is how you prove my point.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Batman.
Oh
Yeah,
my
see-
god, I am going to murder you all at FanFest.
The reason that doesn't work is because Cartman would have the relic weapon. He would put in the time.
That's true.
Cartman,
No, he's the
Cartman
one who,
got up
like-
to maximum level fighting boars.
I still see him as the one who would be like socially manipulating an entire guild to get it for him.
Dude, FF11 was made for Cartman.
You're not
Oh
wrong.
my
Not,
god,
not,
you
not
are
only
worse.
did he get up to max level by killing boars, but he got up to max level by killing mobs that eventually stopped giving even the most minuscule amount of XP.
It
Oh
was
god, Cartman playing 14 is a worrisome thought.
He's out there. You know it.
I have no doubt that there's probably some kid out there who is just Cartman playing 14.
Oh,
And I probably run into him in Void Arc.
He's too busy playing Verminion right now.
Yeah, him and like the one other person who plays.
That was a really good discussion, guys. I'm going to go ahead and cap it right there. I hope everybody that's watching us live enjoyed that, and I hope everybody listening on the podcast enjoys that. If you are listening on the podcast, make sure to come check us out live sometime. We stream this every other Saturday night at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio, so make sure to come stop by and check us out sometime. Sarah, we kind of had a break from your lore segment last episode, so this time you've got a special thing for us?
I guess kind of special. I mean, like, it's not super special. It's something I thought was interesting, which is how most of this usually goes. I'm overanalyzing myself again, aren't I?
Honestly, I don't know anything about this. I'm excited to know.
I read this,
Okay.
and I'm actually it's very nice. So why don't you go ahead and take it
not
away?
been
wait a
reading
minute.
it because I want to hear it from Sarah.
Wait, hold up. We got to get the true LBR experience. Let me read on the outline right before we talk about it.
God damn it.
All right. Now I'm up to speed. Go ahead.
Okay. So this week I wanted to talk this show, whatever, this indeterminate period of time. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Ironhearts. They're this family of explorers. They know a lot about all the various sites of Eorzea. They're involved with the sightseeing logs in some of the dungeons. And I like to look at them as both kind of the celebration of this adventuring spirit to delve into the unknown, to do this exploration, traveling to far-flung lands where we won't know what we find, and also this kind of reminder to like appreciate the world around us, to don't get so caught up in this hunt for treasure and this hunt for all that we completely miss all of the various strange and unusual lands that we are going through. So we talked a little bit about FF11 throughout this podcast, and I'll go ahead and bring it up here as well, because the Ironhearts actually first appeared in Final Fantasy XI, where you had the father and daughter Gwynam and Enid Ironheart. Gwynam Ironheart was a owner of a merchant vessel involved with shipping concerns, lost his ship and crew in a wreck, and took up the mantle of adventure, resolved to make this chronicle of the various lands of Vanadil, the continents of Mindarsha and Quan, where the game starts out. After his death in the Northlands of Valdonia, his daughter Enid continued his work. The maps that players use in the game are supposed to be based on the original Ironheart maps, largely unchanged, just a few annotations for historical changes like countries, other stuff like that, since they were made about a century before the start of the game. But there's supposed to be these things that are incredibly accurate, that once airships became a thing, people were able to like take a look at the land and see that, no, these adventurers really walked the land, really took careful notes, really understood and appreciated what they were going through. There's actually a quest in Final Fantasy XI that has the players seek out these stone monuments that the Ironhearts carved and make copies of them for Historian. And as you read the text on them, you get insights into the history, the geopolitics, and the ecology of Vanadil.
Oh my God, was that the Crawler's Nest map quest?
It was.
Yes. People got, like, there was reasons to do it besides the Crawler's map, Nest, you fucks. Like, you could
But was
read
there really?
the monuments. They said stuff.
Wait, those said things? I thought I just had to get the clay.
I hate you so much right now. They're kind of spiritual precursors to the Ironhearts of Eorzea. Just have this whole association with this exploration, with this looking at, again, not just the, hey, what loot I can get out of it, but what are the animals like, what are the native races like, what's going on historically, talking about all that, and kind of filling in these details that makes it into a living, breathing world. And so those Ironhearts, they're kind of the first ones, and they kind of establish this idea of what the whole idea that I associate with the Ironhearts. Now, the Ironhearts actually did appear in 1.0 in Final Fantasy XIV. Back in December 2011, it was, they had patch 1.2.0 or 1.20. And they added the achievement system in that patch. They had several NPCs who were administering it, and each NPC was involved with a particular type of achievement. They were still keeping that really heavy lore connection. So like the battle achievements, which tended to focus on notorious monsters, the NPC for that was one who was studying or theorizing about evolution and wanted to hear reports about particularly unusual specimens that she could use in her research. Two of those achievement NPCs were Ironhearts. You had Nedrick Ironheart, who would give you the rewards for exploration achievements. That usually involved reaching the ethereal gates, the teleportation beacons that were often in very far-flung and dangerous areas. So to get his achievements, you had to explore all throughout the land, often going through very dangerous things, sometimes seeing sites that you couldn't really get to otherwise, and just this whole like, hey, we are going to go far and wide, delving into danger in order just to have placed our footsteps on the farthest reaches.
Level 94 Rainbow Basilisks and Revenant's Toll.
Oh my god, getting the Oakwood one was one of my... Because it was a very narrow tunnel with 3 Ahriman. And you had to be waiting for them to turn just right. And all those Ahriman were level 90-something. So they had to be turned at just the right moment. And you had to hope that they didn't turn. Oh, it was nerve-wracking. Some of those ones were actually not too bad to do if you had a friend to go with, because one of you could do a sacrifice play to allow the other through, and maybe you raise each other to get to another point, and it was definitely a bit heart-pounding at times. You also had Nedrick's sister, Milith Ironheart. She gave the rewards for dungeon achievements. So stuff involving clearing a dungeon, sometimes the things like get through the Aurum Vale without using any of the fruits that would clear your poisoning, or get through the Cutter's Cry while at the fastest speed so you get all the chests, stuff like that. She had a couple comments about researching the subterranean city of Gelmora, which we've talked about before, the one that's kind of under the surface of the Shroud, that we may delve into a bit more with the Palace of the Dead. And she liked to contrast herself with Nedrick, talking about, quote, he spends his day with his head in the clouds while I bury mine in a dark hole. Did you ever hear of 2 siblings so alike and yet so different? And so you've got those 2 siblings who are kind of showing this range of all the various places to explore above and below the Earth. Also back in 1.0, you did have reference to Roddard Ironheart, the grandfather of Nedrick and Milith. If you go ahead and open up your world map, so open up the map screen, jump all the way out to the world map, you can actually see in the bottom right corner there a little poem, the title being in 1R12. Enterprising players with access to higher quality art assets have managed to pick out the text from that. And it's supposed to be a little poem written by Roddard Ironheart in the year 1506 of the 6th Astral Era. So that would be, Calamity was in 1670-something, I want to say? No, that can't be right. Anyways, but it's a short little one about how, I'll just go ahead and read it. A map is as precise as the Malms walked in her making. Yet I fear these feet have but far too few between them. May she serve faithfully any who would employ her for good, and shun all who would fill her borders with blood. 12 see the steps taken by those who heed her humble guidance, ensure her legacy endures. And so it's kind of a nice little thing, this wish for like peaceful explorers, that this not be used for war, but this be used by people who just want to see the world. And Roddard Ironheart is kind of similar to Gwynam Ironheart in that most of the modern maps that are used are based on his original ones with very few modifications. So once Dalamud crashed into the Earth, rearranged everything a bit, Nedrick and Milith both made it through the Calamity, but they kind of swapped roles. Nedrick has, in the modern game, has turned his attention to dungeons. He's the one out by the Waking Sands who gives you the quest to go to Halatali, Sunken Temple of Karn, Aurum Vale, and Omdapor Keep. Milith has migrated to Gridania. She has set up residence at Upkalu Falls, and she's the one who starts players on the sightseeing log. Nedrick and Milith's cousin, Kester Ironheart, you can find him in Heavensward out in the Dravanian Forelands in Tailfeather, and he will expand that sightseeing log to cover the Heavensward areas. Now, if you really like lore and you have not started on the sightseeing log, absolutely this is something I recommend doing. It's a really fun diversion. It's a fun chance to kind of explore. In order to fill out an entry in it, you are asked to see as someone else saw. You're given hints as to how a particular denizen of Eorzea saw something, and you want to see the same sight they did. Now, with Heavensward, they actually simplified the process a little bit, and usually you just need to get to that spot. The main difficulty there is that a lot of the spots are very well hidden, and so it could, like, you may have to fly all over a map to see that, oh, hey, this is a thing where there's a sightseeing log spot. Usually look for stuff where there's a magnificent view and you've got a good shot. But for the original Realm Reborn logs, you have to get to the location, a lot of which involve really complicated jumping puzzles. You have to perform a particular emote, and often it'll be at a specific time of day or during a particular type of weather. You have to see it exactly as they saw. If someone talks about seeing the sun rising over the fields of the Red Rooster Stead, you need to be there in the morning, just as they were. And in both cases, when you fill in that sightseeing log entry, you get a little entry about it, telling you a little about what the place is, what its significance is. It often gives you facts that you're not going to find anywhere else. The bit that really makes it resonate with me, when you do finish all of the entries in the sightseeing log, if you go back and you talk to Millith, she has an extra little conversation with you. Now, a lot of people I know are never going to actually have the opportunity to hear it otherwise. So anyone who wants to find this on their own, I'm going to caution you now to go ahead and just step away for a bit. What she said really resonated with me, and I'd like to share it with you. Are my eyes to be believed? This log. Why, you have filled every last page to the margins. Where do I even begin? Yes, I simply must see all these sights for myself. It heartens me greatly to see that you are every bit the explorer I marked you for. Though I cannot help but feel a twinge of envy that you laid eyes upon these wonders before I. Before the calamity, I spent my days in tunnels and caverns dark, convinced that Eorzea's greatest wonders lay deep below, and that the wonders above would always be there, waiting patiently for my return. Then the lesser moon took its vengeance upon the land, changing the face of our realm forever. Treasure the beauty you have seen. Etch the sights deep in your heart and mind, for the time may come when they exist nowhere else in this world. Now, when I first heard that, I thought of, as I was going through this, a lot of the places that had, like, they were vistas that I'd seen in 1.0. They were stuff that I'd seen, and I remembered a lot of the times I saw there, going through the explorations, finding all of these wonderful little spots of time spent with people, and thinking about, it's like, I can't see that anymore. No one can see that anymore. That is a world that is completely lost to us. It's full of all these wonderful little sights, these charming little moments, and it's gone. And it's just this thing that I really love talking about, like taking this moment to look at what's out there, to appreciate even these things that seem so trivial. It can change so much. And then, like, here's this thing that you remember that's really beautiful that you want to share with other people. I'd love to show some of the stuff to people, and I can't. I know that someday, far in the future, these servers will probably be shut down. This game's going to end up closing down itself. I'd love to be able to talk to people about, hey, this was this game that really meant a lot to me, that I met good people through, that I had a lot of really fun experiences, and I won't be able to show it to them. That's just something that's this really beautiful, sad, melancholic thing. I just really, really love it. There's also a lot about kind of the challenges of preserving information. This is something that comes up a lot in library work, archiving, especially what's called ephemera. Things like maybe a picture that someone takes. Like if you take a bunch of pictures on your smartphone, you don't even necessarily save all of them. These little snapshots of the world, of these people, of these places that are just kind of vanishing into the ether. It's just beautiful and sad, and I really, really love it. So yeah, that's the Iron Hearts. As I said, I really love both the twin, hey, let's go out, go into this world, find this big, exciting stuff, and let's appreciate what we see. Let's lock it deep in our heart, show respect and reverence for it, because it's something that someday it won't be anywhere else.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, I'm tearing up a little bit here.
No, that's fine. That was very nice there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I
I'm
guess-
really glad I got to share that with you guys.
I know you were really big into the sightseeing log when that first came out in 2.0.
Oh god, some of those jumping puzzles, like trying to get to those lamps in Adapkalu Falls, you can perch yourself on top of them. Like one of the things I love the most about the sightseeing log was finally making it to this really difficult point, taking a moment to enjoy the view and possibly to wait for the right time to actually complete the log, and having the occasional player running by, pausing a moment and being like, "Whoa, how did you get up there?" And this thing of like, for a moment, I changed how someone saw it. Someone saw it's like, hey, maybe there's a little more here than I thought. There's something here I never knew was here. That's kind of cool.
It makes it an interesting way to see the game that we're all playing on a daily basis for the most part, but we take a lot of the little things for granted. So, I mean, this is a way for us to kind of step back and, just appreciate it.
Yeah. Go watch an NPC have a conversation. See how the waves move in a particular pond. Just take a moment to be. Okay, that's enough of that from me.
All right, so we still don't have an official name for this segment, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and say that was Sarah's Lorgasm.
That makes me so tawdry.
Yeah? Your problem? I've been waiting for that one, so give me a break.
He's going to kill you eventually, Klaus. Just be ready.
Oh,
for
I
it.
know, but
Get ready
still.
for FanFest.
We're like I said, we're still looking for a good name for the lore segment. We've got the Lorebrary. We've got what else did we talk about that week? God, it's been a month already, so
Time flies.
it does.
You know, we can just keep changing the name of the segment every week, and that can just be the bit.
That's true. All right. So, well, if you guys like that, or if there's something that you want to hear more about in this game, go ahead and send us an email, podcast@phoenixdownradio.com, or you can tweet at us at phxdnradio on Twitter. You can also check out the website, www.phoenixdownradio.com. All of those are great ways to go and get a hold of us. Sadly, it looks like Ascalia had to go get another rare Pokemon. He's dropped out, so unfortunately we don't get any shout outs from him, but we want to thank him greatly for stopping by today. Even if he is a little bit under the weather, he still was a sport and showed up. So thank you so much, Ascalia. If you listen to the podcast afterwards, thank you so much for stopping by. We always love having you on, and I thought we had a great conversation with you about the different things that we want to see in the game, the things we like about the game, the things we hate about the game, all that good stuff. I hope everybody else enjoyed it.
That was a really satisfying discussion. I had a great time with it.
So I'm thinking we can try and do more stuff like that every once in a while, so we can just have a kind of a round table. For those of you who may be new to us, normally we have a pretty set out outline that we'd like to go off of, so we know about how long it's going to take and the types of things we're going to cover. This one, no. I wrote in a paragraph what grinds my gears. That's kind of what we were going to go off of it initially, but it twisted off of that too, and I loved it. So if you want to hear more stuff like that, give us a base topic to go off of, and maybe we'll do something like that. So let us know.
Yeah, we love your feedback so much. We crave it.
Yeah, we don't have any specific emails to go over this week, so I mean, if you guys have an email you want to let us know about, like I said, email us. We did have a bunch of back and forth in Twitter. You can always follow us on our different Twitter accounts so you can see some of that back and forth. So much of it, it's kind of hard to pick any specific things to talk about. But any that you guys remember in particular that you wanted to mention? Interactions with other people in the Final Fantasy community or anything like that?
Well, I'm having interactions with people, I actually have a little shout out that I want to do.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump to that. Before I have you jump to your shout out for Luna, I want to throw this one out because we forgot it on the last episode. I want to throw a shout out to our good friend Chili. He is a Patreon subscriber, and he supports us at the level where he gets a shout out at the end of every episode. And like I said, we were bad last episode and we didn't actually shout him out for this. We shouted him out for Moogle Go Round, but like I said, we want to make sure that he gets his due. So thank you, Chili, for being a supporter on our Patreon. And if you want to check it out and if you like what you hear from us and you want to help support us, help to improve the quality of the podcast that we're putting out, go ahead and check us out at patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio. There's different levels that you can always support at. And like I said, we're always going to offer the podcast for free. We're always going to stream this for free. But like I said, if you have a couple of extra bucks you can throw every month, it will help us to expand our reach. We have different stretch goals that we're trying to shoot for. So, like I said, every little bit helps. We would appreciate it. So thank you very much. And thank you, Chili, for being an awesome supporter. Other shout outs, Luna, why don't you go ahead and start?
Thank you. For those who don't know, I am one of the self-proclaimed leaders of the role-playing community here on Hyperion. I roleplay. I love role-playing. It's a great workout for your brain. Great creative writing, especially with a game like this. It's really, really fun. So shout out to my brand new FC, Royal Hyperion. Love you guys. Thanks for being with me. Also, I actually found a brand new podcast this week that solely talks about role-playing in Final Fantasy. They're called Musecast, with their hosts Emmy and Remix Sakura. So I strongly suggest going to listen to them because they do a fantastic job of describing just exactly what role-playing in our community is and basically how to get started in it. They do a great job of that, so I highly recommend going and give them a listen.
Very nice. Any other shout outs you want to throw out then, Luna?
Not that I can think off the top of my head.
All right. Sayo, why don't you go ahead and throw out some shout outs?
I mean, I'm pretty good for this week. Like I was telling you before, I haven't even been on too much this week. It's just been, my relic's done. I think I'm just going to go have a life for a bit.
That's fair enough. Sayer.
Shout out to Axis Games for publishing Zero Time Dilemma, Part 3 in the Zero Escape series, which I have been waiting for an absurdly long time. I did not sleep because of you bastards, and it was worth it. If you like really engaging story-driven games, check out the Zero Escape series. I really, really loved it. The first one's kind of hard to find at this point, but I'm sure you'll come up with a way.
Very cool. And I want to give a shout out, of course, to, again, Chili and Paul of Moogle Go Round Radio, our sister podcast. Go check them out. You can follow them at Moogle Go Round Radio on Twitter. They also do have a face page. You can search for Moogle Go Round Radio there and check out their stuff there. And want to shout out again to Callie Escalia for stopping by and joining us on this stream. And shout out to everybody who's watching us live today. We appreciate everybody who's here. We got Chili, we got Daltrea, Moogle Quest, Nick Nar, Sashi Honeybear, Sethala, Stunt Gaming, Z Hart. Thank you all so much for stopping by. And like I said, if you're listening to this on the podcast and you wanted to see what this is all about live, like I said, we go every other Saturday night at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. Come check it out. And we hope you enjoyed listening to us tonight.
Live listeners, we like you way better than those podcast listeners who can't really be there for us.
That's not true, podcast listeners. We love your faces. We love every single one of you.
Luna, Klaus is going to edit this bit out.
Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not.
Crap.
I don't edit that out.
I love all of my podcast children equally.
That's the nice thing about the way I do this is I don't want to have any missing elements for the people who listen live versus the people who listen on the podcast. So sorry, Sarah.
So really,
from you guys.
So I should not go around slandering people.
or at least not, it's up to you. But I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what bridges you can and cannot burn.
May the bridges I burn light the way.
You two are going to be interesting at FanFest with all the bickering between yourselves and the and the ire that you bring upon yourselves. This is going to be a very interesting FanFest.
Well, like a married couple.
I think it'll be fine.
Boy.
It's all good. I have nothing but respect for Sarah. And I mean that, honestly. I mean, yeah, we disagree every once in a while when we have raised voices at each other.
Anyways, guys, if you want to follow me over at Twitter, go ahead and follow me under Luna_Vox. Same also on Twitch if you want to follow me there.
Saya, what's your Twitter?
You can follow me on Twitter at Sayomeo. That's at SEYOMEYO. And on Twitch at Sayomeo_FFXIV.
Sarah?
And for me, it's going to be at FF14Sayer. That's at FFXIVSEYRR. I mostly talk about library stuff and occasionally send pictures of the lunchboxes I make.
And you can always follow me at Klaus_FFXIV. That's Klaus with 2 S's.
And if you want to go ahead and follow Escalia, he is at Escalia, ESKALIA.
Yes.
On Twitter.
Exactly. And if you want to check out the podcast, he's a part of limitbreakradio.com. Great show. They go live tomorrow during midday. I believe they go live at 1 Eastern.
1 p.m. Eastern, yeah.
So go check them out. They are a great show. So for our guest, Escalia Rayamasa, for LunaVox, for Sayomeo, and for Sarah Tomono, I'm Klaus Nightbringer, wishing you all a wonderful evening. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/GuiltyGearRockYou. Closing music for this episode is provided by GuitarWanker90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/GuitarWanker90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.